Thank you so much to Mariah and Robert for that wonderful performance. As they noted, this bloody scene from Macbeth is one of the most renowned in the canon, but it is actually ahistorical. The Scottish royal murder that it is based on had none of those dramatic elements, in which there's a knocking at the door. Lady Macbeth is yelling to go get water and wash away the blood.
Get some water and wash this filthy witness from your hand.
Lady Macbeth expresses shame that she does not blush at the murder she just helped commit. The knocking adds fear of discovery.
Hark, more knocking.
They wish their victim were alive again.
Wake Duncan with thy knocking.
And of course, the historical Lady Macbeth never really said, "Out, damn spot, out, I say."
Out. Damn spot, out, I say.
Or complained about her inability to wash away the blood.
There's the smell of the blood still.
But while this never happened with the Macbeths, it did occur in precisely this manner with another murderous couple who were the subject of the true crime tragedy, Arden of Faversham. Like Lady Macbeth, Alice Arden had pushed her lover, Mosby, to murder an inconvenient man, her husband, Thomas Arden. On the night of the crime, as Alice and Mosby try to clean up the blood, there's a knocking at the door, threatening discovery. Hark and they knock in Arden of Feversham becomes Lady Macbeth's hark more knocking. Alice says, "Go, fetch some water and wash away this blood." As Lady Macbeth says, "Go get some water and wash this filthy witness from your hand." Alice and Lady Macbeth both express shame. They show no embarrassment at the crime, and there's a wish in each that the victim were alive again. But the most obvious resemblance involves Alice and Lady Macbeth's agonizing lament that they cannot wash away the blood. "Here his blood remains," says Alice. "Here's the smell of the blood still," says Lady Macbeth. And the blood will not out in Arden anticipates one of the most famous lines in the canon, "Out damn spot, out I say." Again in Arden, a guilty conscience leads to a nightmarish hallucination with grinning faces and hair bolted with blood and daggers in their hands. And this is clearly the inspiration of Macbeth's vision of the smiling face of blood-boltered Banquo and the disembodied dagger with handle pointed toward his hand. And this is not original. Many scholars and editors have discussed still other passages in Arden and Feversham that link Alice and Mosby to Lady Macbeth and her husband. What does this have to do with Thomas North? Alice Arden, the real-life Lady Macbeth, was North's half-sister, Mosby, a North family servant, and Thomas knew everyone involved in the crime. But both tragedies are not just indebted to North's life, they also borrow from his personal writings. And all this comes together in the life of North in 1591 and 2. In 1591, North purchased a used 1582 edition of his own Dial of Princes. That's his signature right there. And then used it as a notebook for plays that he wrote or revised in the 1590s. Here, North underlines and writes out a chapter subtitle, which was then used as the subtitle for Arden of Feversham later that year, 1592. And according to both Ebo and Google, no one else in history has ever used this same language. The passages that North marked in his dial and then used for Arden of Feversham and Macbeth are just too many to relate here. So let us just focus on one, and it begins with another book of North's that he was also reviewing at this time. This passage from North's Moral Philosophy of Donne is not how it reads in Donne's original Italian. North has transformed the passage into his own language, adding images and phrases that turn Donne's prose into something more poetic. He has ensured that the language maintains a similar rhythm, and that each particular idea or sentence segment are all about the exact same length. But the little world of our body, and that little breath of ours once spent, it is then but a shadow, dust, and smoke. It is but a fire kindled on the coals. And as Shakespeare scholars can already probably tell, that length is 10 syllables. It's blank verse. This is blank verse. North has transformed an Italian prose passage into a blank verse soliloquy on the brevity and meaninglessness of life. And the passage should seem familiar. Turning back to the dial for a moment, Michael Blanding had sent me pictures of every marginal comment of North's book and noted a number of them reminded him of Macbeth, including this one. And there it is, "A wicked man is like a candle." And when we add it to our blank verse passage in Donne, we see a clear anticipation of one of the most famous soliloquies in history. North refers to the evil man who never ceaseth daily toward his demise, like a candle once light, burning till the end. Macbeth describes time that creeps from day to day, and life as lighted candle. North says life is then but a shadow. Macbeth says life's but a walking shadow. In North, it's a foolish life, or in Macbeth, a thing of fools or an idiot. North describes life as a little breath, quickly spent. Macbeth, a brief candle, soon out. North refers to death as dust. Macbeth, dusty death. And notice the rhythm. It is but a fire kindled on the coals. It is a tale told by an idiot. Finally, North notes that this foolish life has a wonderful presence. It radiates a glow and giveth heat, but then all cometh to nothing, or, in the words of Macbeth, it is full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. North was reviewing his Donny and Dial in 1591 and 2, marking passages relevant to Arden of Faversham, first published in 1592. This is the origin of Lady Macbeth's bloody hands, out, damn spot, the knocking, the visions of a dagger and blood-boltered smiling faces. Also in 1591-2, Green and Marlowe wrote plays hoping to please James VI, the King of Scotland, future King of England. 1591 also saw the publication of News from Scotland about a trial of witches charged with creating a storm to destroy King James's ship. All of this comes together the same year in the life and writings of North. It's his half-sister and family servant, and he marked the passages for Macbeth and Arden in his own dial. And we can do this for every year, passage after passage, experience after experience, year after year, for over 5 decades.